Hello everyone, I'm Breor and welcome to episode 4 of Quick Tips, the series in which I share some pointers that aren't quite important or complex enough to warrant their own videos. We have plenty of tips to get to today, so let's jump right in. Tip number 1, invest in the legendary perk Fivefinger discount. When Goodgame Studios removed the practice of farming from the game, they made many changes to looting and the production of legendary resources. One of these changes involved the Hall of Legends attack perk Fivefinger discount, which previously increased loot from PvP targets. The current version of this perk instead increases loot from NPC targets, and when you consider that NPC farming is perhaps the biggest part of the game, you can see why this attack perk might be important. The perk offers a maximum of 50% additional loot from NPC targets. I have noticed some people complaining on the forums about not being able to see the difference, but that hasn't been the case in my own experience. I usually prioritize food when attacking robber barons, and with this perk active, it's a lot easier to fill my storehouses in the Great Kingdom. The perk is likely applied before and separate from other looting bonuses, like the Marauder and VIP mode, so it likely has less of an effect than the advertised 50%, but I happen to think it's still worthwhile. At the very least, you should know the current version of the perk is different from what it was a long time ago. Tip number 2. Use the Adobe Flash application to run Goodgame Empire. As you probably know, Goodgame Empire is a Flash game, meaning it requires Adobe Flash to run. This is why you can't play the game on just any mobile browser, and it's also why you might be asked to install, update, or activate a Flash plugin when you first visit the game. Your version of Adobe Flash might be a little different depending on your browser, and those differences could account for crashes or additional lag. Your browser may also present some issues. For example, Goodgame Empire often freezes when left in a background tab in Google Chrome. This is because Chrome limits the ability of background tabs to use the CPU. If your game is running slowly, try downloading the standalone version of Adobe Flash provided by Goodgame Studios on the forum. I'll put a link to the download in the description of this video. I have noticed a significant performance increase using this version of Flash, and you'll avoid browser-specific problems like the one I mentioned earlier. This should especially help players with low-end computers. Goodgame Studios is currently in the process of converting Goodgame Empire into HTML5, so this tip won't work forever, but you can definitely use it while you wait. Tip number 3, recruit veteran heavy crossbowmen. Let's say you've had some starvation issues and need to recruit an army from scratch quickly. When you open up the recruitment menu, you'll see your most powerful attackers. Depending upon what glory and gallantry titles you have, these attackers may be spearwomen, imperial marksmen, or crossbowmen of the elite guard. These troops are strong, but they require extra coins and time to recruit. Your recruitment speed is based on a number of factors and can be increased if you're willing to spend rubies at the drill grounds or for the drill instructor. A cheaper solution is to simply recruit veteran heavy crossbowmen. These troops require less time and far fewer coins, making them more economical. You'll take a few extra losses when attacking robber barons and event camps, but that's okay. Keep in mind you shouldn't be using coin troops of any description for serious PvP attacks at level 70. And once your armies are restored, you can actually go back to recruiting the more powerful and expensive troops to replace the weak troops at the rate you lose them. Tip number 4, dwellings can improve your defenses. Common consensus states you should demolish your dwellings upon turning level 70, and that is absolutely the case. Dwellings hurt public order and thus limit food production, and you can collect all of the coins you need by attacking robber barons, Barrowmond watchtowers, event camps, and the like. However, thanks to the introduction of build items, dwellings have ceased to be entirely useless. You can now apply build items to them, which reduce the number of units lost during a defensive battle at your castle. This won't change the outcome of battles, but it will instead work like the military hospital. Some of your casualties will be returned unharmed. Because PvP isn't so common in the game, I don't think you should take up space permanently with dwellings. Instead, build 3 level 1 dwellings whenever you find yourself in a war. The dwellings don't need to be upgraded because you're just using them as slots for the build items. Why 3? Well, because you can have up to 3 of these build items per castle. After the war is over, remove your build items and demolish the dwellings. Tip number 5, cheating the Technicus. The Technicus is a greedy man. You'll need to visit him if you ever want to upgrade your equipment, but be aware it can take upwards of 25 million coins just to max out a single set. The Technicus is particularly aggravating because upgrades aren't guaranteed to succeed, meaning it's possible to spend millions of coins without getting anything in return. How exactly the Technicus works is open for debate, but some players have suggested clicking certain hotspots on the upgrade button will make your upgrades quicker and cheaper. Perhaps you've seen one of these images before. They show you where to click to get the upgrades you're looking for. I've taken the liberty of consolidating them into one high-definition screenshot, which I'll link to in the description box down below. To be clear, I don't think where you click actually makes a difference, but I do seem to be a whole lot luckier when I follow one of these guides, and we could all use a little more luck at the Technicus. Tip number 6, you shouldn't store troops in resource villages. You probably know about safe housing your troops to keep them protected while you're offline, and I definitely recommend this, but it can be annoying, time-consuming, and expensive if the safe house is a far ways away from your castle. You might be tempted to store your troops in a nearby resource village instead. Indeed, I often used to do this myself, but at the very least, you should be aware of the risks. Resource villages can still be attacked, although on the US server, they're off-limits even in most wars, but far more importantly, you can lose your resource villages if you run out of food. The game is designed so troops in the main castle are deleted first, then troops in stone and wood RVs, then troops in food RVs. This makes sense, because if all of your troops in an RV are deleted, you'll lose control of it. If you lose control of your food RVs, your food production will go down, resulting in more starvation. Normally, enough troops can be deleted from the main castle to equalize food production and consumption, so there's never a risk of losing RVs. However, when all of your troops are in your RVs, they will have to be deleted from there. This isn't disastrous if you're offline, since your troops will only be deleted upon login, and if you've titled your RVs by their coordinates, you can use these starvation reports to find them and recapture them in short order. However, if you're online, but simply in another tab, you won't have that luxury, and may permanently lose the RVs if another player gets to them before you notice they're missing. This is what happened to me a while back in the Fire Peaks, but luckily I still have my food RVs, and I don't produce stone or wood anyways, so the others don't really matter. It still bugs me though. Tip number 7, use Pro Mode on the Wheel of Fortune. Although the equipment sets are long outdated, the Wheel of Fortune is still a great event for collecting extra prizes and rubies. You should always spin the wheel at least once per event because doing so is free, but your subsequent spins will cost 3 tickets. If you have the patience and self-control, you should save up your tickets. This is because spinning the wheel many times during one iteration of the event will give you access to better prizes. Be aware that winning the event will require literally thousands of tickets, upwards of 15,000 in some cases, although it depends partially on how competitive your server is. If you've bought rubies before, I recommend spinning the wheel in Pro Mode. Doing so costs 10 times as much, but you will level up 10 times more quickly and get better rewards in the process. There are a few disadvantages to Pro Mode, like landing on equipment being far more wasteful, but the important advantage is access to way more rubies. You can get rubies when you land on the jackpot or when you land on a green chest. Rubies are the best reward you can get from the wheel, and if you need some suggestions on what to spend them on, I've got a video for you. Tip number 8. Language conversion for foreign servers. Let's say you'd like to start a new account on a new server, preferably one that's smaller and less competitive. Many of these smaller servers are in less popular languages that you might not understand. If you've played the game for a while, you'll probably be able to figure it out well enough, but did you know it's possible to translate the game into your language on any server? To do so, you'll need to use Facebook. Link your Empire account to your Facebook page via the settings menu. I absolutely abhor Facebook, so I haven't tried this tip myself, and I won't be demonstrating it in this video, but I'll leave a link to this helpful forum post in the video description. Please note that the translation may not be 100% accurate, but it will be a massive improvement. Also, you'll have to make it through the game's tutorial before you can link up your account. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I'm giving out for free today. If you like my videos, please consider sharing them with your friends in the game or on the forum. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.